Welcome to the Rusted Garden Homestead. This video is all about growing sunflowers. I'm going to give you a couple of tips so that you can have beautiful sunflowers throughout your garden. You can see sunflowers that are already about 5 feet tall. The one over there is 6 feet tall. We'll walk over there in a second. Sunflowers are wonderful growers. A couple things not to do. Do not buy transplants. The transplants sit in the cells too long, the little tiny cells. The roots become bound. You get some green growth. When you put it in the ground, the root systems are not strong enough to really support vigorous growth where you're going to get strong stems, strong plants. The plants right here, tip number 2, you can seed so let me say that again. You can seed sunflower seeds the year before or early in the spring. They can handle the cold. The seed will just sit there. It might germinate. The root system will get established. The plant will come up a little bit, not grow a whole lot. It can handle a little bit of frost. These are all nature-sown seeds. These are seeds that fell from plants last year. They started coming up early April here in Maryland. Managed some frosts. They did perfectly fine, and they're just beautiful. They're going to germinate at different rates. These are growing right on the mulch on my more clay soil. I don't really amend the soil right around there, but there's, nutrients and stuff in there. So you don't need fancy soil. Tip number 3, nothing elaborate. Just get the seed in the ground, keep it watered. But just look how large these are. This comes up to my shoulders. I'm 6 feet tall. That one's almost to my head. Let's walk over to that one. The earlier you plant sunflowers, the better off you are. If they come up and you get an odd frost, you could protect them, put a cloche over them, a container over them, they'll be okay. But when you put them out early, I mean early, when the frosts are still around, they know what to do. This seed, this plant seeded itself right there. This is over 6 feet tall. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. Nice and strong. I've just started removing the leaves from the bottom to keep the airflow going through here for my tomato plants. But look how thick that stem is. I highly recommend direct seeding your sunflowers. And that's probably the biggest tip. You don't need to create any kind of fancy soil. Just work them in there and water them in regularly. They're going to take off. You don't need to overlove them. They don't need special fertilizer. They don't need anything. They really mine down in deep into the soil, pull all the nutrients out that they need. Here's another sunflower growing in my fire ring. The bottom is open. Early in May, I had to walk through my garden and remove a lot of the sunflowers that seeded themselves. I had dozens in here. I guess the final tip, things to keep in mind: neglect. Don't need to over fertilize them. Direct sow, but give them a lot of water. They do really well with consistent moisture, especially till they get to this size and the roots get deep into the ground. But keep watering them. It makes all the difference. Here's another one coming up in one of my tomato beds. I'm going to leave that there. I'll be cleaning up the bottom. And this guy's only 3 feet tall, but look how thick the stem is. If you really spend the money on buying transplants, you're not going to get healthy plants. They're going to bloom really early. They're not going to get to the height that they're supposed to get to. Just pick up a pack of sunflower seeds. There's all kinds of different kinds. Direct sow them. You can certainly give them a drink of water-soluble fertilizer. That's not going to hurt anything. There are different varieties around here. And I just really let them come up. I have to actually remove a lot of them because I don't want so many sunflowers around here, because I'm growing the mammoth type, the ones that get 8, 10, 12 feet tall. And they'll shade out the rest of my garden. They are really, really hardy. Neglect them, get them in the ground early. Even plan to sow them, late fall, early winter in your area. And they're going to come up on their own. And if you're going to do that, I would recommend putting 3 or 4 seeds in a space where you're kind of overwintering them. This way you're not waiting around for a seed to germinate that doesn't. And you may have to thin them out. But those seeds that you put in late fall, early winter, late winter, and kind of let them slowly get growing, they're going to be your strongest, most fabulous sunflower plants in your garden. And we'll take one more look at the size of the one right over there. All nature sown. Thanks so much for watching. Please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com. Sunflowers are a beautiful addition to your garden, and you really don't have to do much but get them into the ground.